The aviation program at the University of North Dakota has been around since the 1960s. Recently, the school added an aerobatic class to its list. Aerobatic pilot and instructor Michael Lentz is here to talk about the program. Thanks for coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks for having me.
Well, first of all, I talked about this earlier in the show. You recently received an accreditation that only 30 other educators in the world have. Explain what that is.
Let's see, it's a Master CFI accreditation, which is a little more popular, but the rare part of it is it's also for aerobatics. And that's where there's only about 30 people in the world that have this accreditation.
Why is that so rare?
It's kind of a harder accreditation to get because there's a lot of different skills you have to show and a lot of different services and activities you have to do to just earn that accreditation.
Okay, well, congratulations first of all on that. Now on to the program. Explain what aerobatics actually is.
Yeah, well, aerobatics is basically taking things outside the normal realm of flying. We're used to seeing or experiencing airlines where we climb, you cruise and you hold level and then you descend. But aerobatics is taking outside that normal part where we're looking at more of a free flight or all attitude flight. When people think about flying, young children and a lot of us think of birds and air shows. And that's basically what aerobatics is. It's just encompassing the whole experience.
Well, and your aerobatics team is doing very well. In the last 5 years, it's won a national competition.
Right.
And is it against other schools? Is that how that works?
Yep. When we go to a contest, we compete against airline pilots and corporate pilots and anyone who has an aircraft that's there. And so even we have a couple guys that go against air show guys, which is kind of fun to see and watch. But then those scores are taken and compiled together, and then they're compared to other colleges and schools. Okay.
And your role as a coach and instructor, what exactly do you do?
Well, generally I make sure everything's organized, and then I also lecture and teach the ground school, and then I fly with all the students and many of the students that compete to just hone their skills down so they can get the presentation where they want it, make the aircraft do exactly what they want it to do.
Okay, and we're looking at some pictures of the aircraft. How is this aircraft different than, I guess, can I say a normal plane?
Yeah, normal would work. This aircraft, it's aerobatically certified, so what that means is it's stressed to handle a lot more forces on it than your normal aircraft would. And then we also add some systems on it to enable it to fly continuously upside down or to handle a lot of the different maneuvers that we can put on it.
Okay, does it react a lot quicker than a normal cadet would or something like that?
Yep, it does. Its response is very fast compared to a lot of the other aircraft that our students experience. That's usually the first thing they notice, is it's almost like jumping in a sports car and suddenly you're getting that cornering and that ability and confidence that you wouldn't have with other types of machines.
Sure. Well, it looks scary. I mean, seeing a plane flip around. What about safety? We actually have a Facebook question from John in Bismarck. He asked, what measures are in place for student safety when competing?
Well, that's an excellent question. And what we do is when our students are competing, there's a lot of safety measures that the International Aerobatic Club have in place at the competitions. We're not at air show levels, we're at higher altitudes than that, but we're still in a position where they can grade us and judge us from the ground. All of our students, unless they're also a certified instructor and standardized in the airplane, will fly with me or one of our other assistant coaches. I have a couple other people that help me out. And we're there to make sure that level of safety is attained. So we fly with parachutes, and we've got the experience there to make sure everything goes the way it should.
So you're sitting much like a driver's ed person in the back of the cockpit with a new person who's flying a plane upside down for the first time and flipping around.
Right.
How does that feel, being in that role?
It's fun. It's a great way to see kind of our expanded horizons. Flying in general, it gives you a completely new perspective of what the world looks like, and then being able to turn that upside down in another way, it just really opens up the world for our students.
And we're seeing you in here with on the video right now. What is happening? What do we see?
Well, right now we're performing a loop, and what we see there is a roll where we're taking the aircraft upside down, we're flying it inverted a little bit, and we're experiencing some forces that you don't normally experience with an aircraft, being held by the straps. And
G-force is something that you hear with...
right, it's very common to hear associated.
And this looks pretty scary, right? This was this person's first flight, right?
Yep, this was his first aerobatic flight. So he's a pilot, but he hadn't flown aerobatics before.
And has anybody ever said after a flight like that, no, I'm never doing this again? Has that happened?
We haven't had too many people. Airbags is not going to be for everybody, but the skills you learn from it can certainly make any pilot a better pilot. But again, it's not something everyone's going to jump into,
sure,
or walk away from happy with. But everyone comes by with a a new experience, and usually it's enjoyable.
Well, and now it's a course?
We also have a course.
Okay.
Yep, we've had that course for a while. But
Well, with this course, what kind of prerequisites do you have to have?
basically, the only prerequisite we have is that you're a private pilot. So you've taken our private pilot course, or you already come in with your certificate, and this allows you to expand those skills and learn something new in the airplane.
All right, I have to ask you one last question. Why do you get excited to do what you do?
Well, I love what I do because it's a challenge. Flying encompasses so many different aspects of life, and this one has a more physical aspect, and it's a lot different than what you'd normally expect when you hear pilot. It's one of those things that you think of first. I joke there's two questions when someone hears you're a pilot. Do you fly jets or do you fly upside down? And a lot of people can't answer affirmative to either of those, but this gives us that opportunity to explore the world in a completely different way.
All right, well, thank you so much for coming on the show, and good luck at your next competition.
Thank you.
All right.